What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Week 7 edition Sunday Sideline Report here on the SIN YouTube channel. Danny Boy Reginald, the Old Ops guy, Mike Rifkin with you. Gentlemen, good morning. How are you?
It's Sunday. At least it's warmer than yesterday. I'll take it. Fine, though.
At least it's warmer than yesterday. It's a good
Um,
answer.
it could be it could be better. Truthfully, uh something didn't agree. I ate something that didn't agree with me last night, so
Oh,
but I'm still here.
No excuses here for this
no
guy.
excuses. Absolutely no excuses.
And look, it's gonna get worse anyway. I'm gonna watch the Jets lose again. So it's like,
You
Oh,
know what?
ye of little faith.
so really this is the best part of the day.
See, I like that.
I love how he's already counting this. They lost. It's over. Oh,
Until I see otherwise, why?
no, you're not wrong. I can't sit here and tell you
They
you're wrong.
have to show me something.
I agree with you.
You and Bill might have to share a bag.
I'm not wearing that stinky ass bag full of
No.
beer cans and ugh, gross.
You know who else is wearing a bag right now? Tennessee Titan fans. Because
Oh,
they thought Cam Ward would change the trajectory of the franchise, but you can't put all that kind of pressure on a rookie. And with the Titans sitting at 1-5, they fired head coach Brian Callahan earlier this week. They've named former Charger coach Mike McCoy as the interim. Ironically enough, this week into Nashville comes Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots. So, Mark, I'll start it with you. Your reaction to the Titans being the first team to fire their head coach.
was not surprised he was fired. Was just surprised he was fired so early. You know, I understand Tennessee was going nowhere, especially once they lost Will Levis and pretty much everything else. This is a rough way for Cam Ward to get his season started, but getting this guy out and getting in a new coach maybe will get him in under a new system that he can thrive on.
Dan?
I mean, you, you hire a coach, fire a coach, you hire a GM, you fire a GM. This hiring circus, hiring, firing people, it's not good for any organization. It should not be happening in the NFL. And truthfully, um, Tennessee, and look, I bitch and moan about the Jets all the time, and rightfully so. The Jets don't deserve any type of excitement. This Tennessee Titans team, man, is up and down with a bunch of incompetent, nonsensical people running their front office and running their franchise. Right now, you have a quarterback who could be one of the best to do it in your locker room. And obviously, it's going to take some time. I'm not going to put all the pressure on the kid yet, but you have him in the building, and already, he's going to get a new coach. He's probably frustrated at the process, as any young player would be. Like, don't you think you owe it to the team to figured it out. And I'm just being real here. I think the Titans' long issues of just making the constant stupid mistakes from the executives, it really tarnishes franchise.
I like how you phrased that. The mistakes from years past, because let's be blunt. Let me be blunt when I say this. The guy coaching on the other sideline in Nashville today should never have been let go of in the first place. Because Mike Vrabel, when he was the coach of the Titans, you could have made the case for was one of the best coaches in the league. They played hard every week. They made the playoffs basically every year, and you knew what you were getting. Now, because whatever reasons happened, they let him go. They bring in Brian Callahan. Last year, stink show, whatever. First pick, now you take the kid Cam Moore. Now you got to surround him with pieces. Well, Calvin Ridley's done nothing this year. There's an APB out. Oh, by the way, he's not even playing today. He's out with a hamstring. Mark's guy, Tony Pollard, got a nice contract last year. Hasn't performed up to it. By the way, AJ Brown, who was in your building, got traded for a first-round pick, of which you drafted a guy comped as the next AJ Brown. What happened to Treylon Burks? Oh, that's right. You put him on waivers, and he just signed a deal in Washington.
Yeah.
So why can't Cam Ward succeed here? Because Dan's right. It's the incompetence from the top down. You didn't want to pay AJ Brown, so you traded him. Whatever reason there is for getting rid of Mike Vrabel, you got rid of Mike Vrabel. Derrick Henry was in your building. And I know he wasn't an elite quarterback, but Ryan Tannehill played his butt off for you.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, this team was actually in the AFC title game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And even though they lost, but it's just hit after hit after hit. And I don't know where the confidence for Cam Ward goes. Because it is rough for a young quarterback to have two coaches in 2 years. So now you better hit a home run on this head coaching hire for next season.
They have to get it right, Mike. I mean, I'm sorry, man. Like, the situation has gone far enough where now you're pretty much in danger of once again blowing everything up because you have no idea what you're doing. I mean, how many GMs have they had in the last few years?
I think this is I don't know when John Robinson's left, so this would be number 2 or number 3.
Insane. Like there's no way people would survive any of this type of circus in the NFL.
And the other thing is this: look, they're going to have another top pick again next year in April. Not because of where they're at now. So you're going to have to hit in the draft. You're going to have to hit on the coach and go from there. Speaking of hitting on the head coach, the Rams are up 14-0 in London on the Jaguars. 2 Matthew Stafford touchdown passes, 1 to Devontae Adams, and 1 to as Mark called them, Mumford and Sons.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you updated as the second quarter just got started.
Yeah, another tough start for Jacksonville. Jacksonville got to a great start this season. It seems like they struggled a bit.
Well, they're starting to get into some better teams, so we'll see what happens there.
Mhm.
Uh, so let's get into this. So, as mentioned, Brian Callahan's the first coach off on the fired list. Mark, who else are you looking at on a hot seat potentially?
For me, it's Brian. Yeah, for me, it's Brian Dable. I know he's kind of responsible for making that trade to bring in Jackson Dart. I'm sorry, this Giant team is not winning really with him at all. Yeah, they've had some unfortunate with injuries. So have a lot of the teams. Dable is just not getting it done in New York.
I think he is kind of better now. Ultimately, it depends on how the Giants end their season. Um, I think for right now he's safe because of the performance of Dart. Dart's played very well. But if if it's like an up and down situation, I don't know. I don't know what the Giants would do. I think they would keep him for stability and continuity. You want to develop something. Um, but if it's disaster at the end of the season, which I don't think it will be, I think the Giants will win some games. Then I mean, I would at least consider, at the very least, a new coach. New GM, I mean, the GM got Jackson Dart in the building. So it's like, but
The other thing is you can't really blame them on the neighbor's injury. That's the one
yeah.
thing that really is hurting them because they really don't have anything else on the outside.
Yeah.
So it's not like Dart's working with
They have
great offensive tools.
they have that kid Robinson who is, maybe a strong two, maybe a three.
Strong three. I would
No, I would say at least the mid two, strong three type of thing.
yeah.
Um, like he's definitely good enough he's not a scrub, so you can trust him. If if someone were to throw the ball to him, he can catch the ball. Um, it's funny 'cause I was listening to New York Sports Radio. They're saying, why not go after like again, Mike, I'm not trying to piss you off here, but go after like a Jalen Waddle type of situation. You know, put in there to compliment neighbors whenever he comes back.
So I'm gonna nip this in the bud right now. This is a personal message to Chris Greer. You can trade anybody on the Miami Dolphins you want to trade. If you trade Jalen Waddle, I'm going to find you.
Yeah.
I'm going to find you
Yeah.
because there's two guys on this roster I would not trade, and Jalen Waddle is one of them. Unless you get some real ransom offer for Jalen Waddle, you ain't trading that guy.
A bunch of ones.
But listen, if the Giant, and by the way, this is just a note for Giant fans, and don't think I hate all of you. The Giants aren't in a position to where they should be trading draft picks away either.
Mhm.
Let's not make it seem like they are a wide receiver away from contention. They're not. They need help on the offensive line. They need some help on defense outside of the pass rush.
Yeah, they still got time.
No,
And
no, right. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, I don't think they're in a position to where they should be moving on for picks. Um, Dan, for you, would you put Aaron Glenn on the hot seat? Even though it's only year one.
No. Obviously, and everybody heard it. If you listen to Sports Sanity podcast every Monday and Friday, you guys heard the overreaction to Aaron Glenn and and the offense's performance in London, his lack of understanding how coaching works. Um, but truthfully, I want to make sure none of us have amnesia here. We hold Kyle Shanahan to a high regard, right? I mean,
Mhm.
kind of, sort of. Didn't he start like
Yes.
0-9 for his like coaching career?
Yeah, he did not start off great.
Like he had like 10 wins in 2 seasons. Some crazy stuff like that. And yet, he's been to the Super Bowl. And the 49ers are a better run organization. But he's been to the Super Bowl. He's been in big games. And again, he's regarded as one of the best coaches in the NFL right now. But he didn't get off to a great start. And he made a lot of mistakes in that first season as head coach.
Right.
I'm talking 9 seasons now. So I just don't think it's the right move, even if it goes absolutely, if it goes as worse as 0-17, which I don't think will happen. The Jets are going to win a game. They're going to piss us off and win a game. You know, I think it is absolutely irresponsible for the Jets to fire head coach after one season.
Mhm.
Got to give the guy time. And look, the again, I totally understand. I want to win too. I'm tired of losing. I'm impatient. I'm naturally impatient. But I think if you give him time to actually develop his staff and develop the program that he wants to build, and then, over time the Jets get better players that will be better suited for what Aaron Glenn wants. Like, I truly think that there's going to be a hit at some point. Like, something's got to give.
Good. No, that's fair. It's very fair.
I mean, I could give you all the coaches. Obviously, the big one is Campbell. That's the biggest comparison that everyone's been making all season. But like, I want to make sure people didn't have amnesia about Kyle Shanahan, because I remember the talks too, where there were a bunch of 49er fans that are pretty frustrated with Kyle Shanahan. So just throwing it out there.
No, that's fair enough. All right. Week 7 already underway. We had Thursday night football, which was an AFC North showdown, which saw Joe Flacco turn back the clock as the Bengals beat the Steelers by a score of 33-31. Flacco 31 of 47, 342 yards and 3 touchdowns. Chase Brown went for over 100 yards rushing, and Jamar Chase 16 catches, 161 yards and a touchdown. For Pittsburgh, Aaron Rodgers 23 of 34, 249 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks.
It was an okay performance.
Jalen Warren, 16 carries and 127 yards. And Pat Fryer with 5 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
I mean, playing fantasy at points on that.
The Bengals go to 3-4 on the year, while the Steelers go to 4-2. Dan, I'm sure you guys talked a lot about the quarterbacks during Thursday Night Gridiron and probably SIP on Friday as well.
Yeah, well, we're thinking, because the biggest thing that we're talking about was the Bengals being 2-4 at the time. So we're like, okay, look, Joe Flacco isn't what he used to be. That obviously doesn't mean that he's going to have a bad game. It just means that he's not what he used to be. Realistically, if the Bengals win, that puts them in prime position of a playoff spot. Again, they have a lot of hurdles to jump over, but they're in prime position. So if Joe Flacco can get them there, that's good. This is already step one. They won a game. So now, and of course, now they have that tiebreaker over Pittsburgh. So if anything were to happen, boom. So see what you can get out of this guy Flacco. Until you can get Burrow back, if you can get Burrow back. I think they're saying December, but like just throwing that nonsense out there. Um, as far as the game goes, I thought the Bengals responded well offensively on a very short week, which was very nice. It was a very high scoring game. There was no defense existing, but that's okay. It's two offensive powerhouses. So, you're gonna that's just the reality.
Mark.
This game, as it was broadcasted as the icy hot bowl between both old quarterbacks, out there on the field, it was a damn good football game on both offensive sides. Obviously, defenses looked more like sieves playing each other. But I like the way that Aaron Rodgers played, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Joe Flacco is still impressing at the age of 432, throwing another 3 touchdowns this week. I think Dan put it at point is, can they get to the point, and can the Cincinnati team hold off until Joe Burrow comes back? If the defense can tighten up a little bit here, they almost gave this one away. Again, the Cincinnati Bengals defense is not as good as the offense. It's almost like the Dallas Cowboys. Joe Flacco is giving Cincinnati a reason to be worried about again. If the defense can tighten up a little bit, we'll be talking Cincinnati and Burrow in December.
Why didn't the Bengals make this move sooner? I think is a big question people should be asking. Instead of making us sit and watch Jake Browning, I think that should be a question asked.
I think the
I'm
Browns still trying to get a lot of Flacco.
yeah. I'm going to the flip side. The Steelers do this every freaking year. They start off really, really hot, and you go, "Oh, you got to believe in the Steelers. They're 4-1. What do they beat?" And then in a game, let's be frank here, in a game where they really could have buried not just the Bengals, but the entire AFC North, and the Bengals spotted them 10 points. They were up 10-0, and they choked that game away. Mark, you talked about how great Aaron Rodgers was. That's great. The Pittsburgh Steelers are known for defense in their history. TJ Watt, you wanted money. I didn't see it on Thursday night. Cam Hayward, you wanted a new deal. I didn't see you on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey's one of the best cover corners in the league. Jamar Chase was burning him all night long.
You're talking about some Hall of Fame caliber players on your team on defense.
And the most arrogant of them all, Mike Tomlin.
Mm.
Why are you poking the bear? Complaining that the Cleveland Browns trading Joe Flacco within the division. You're complaining all week. Well, that old man just whooped your candy ass up and down Paul Brown Stadium or whatever it is now. And you're supposed to be okay with that. So not only now have you opened the door for the Bengals on possibly getting Burrow back in December, but you know who comes back next week? Lamar Jackson. And the Baltimore Ravens have a favorable schedule here in the post their bye week. If the Baltimore Ravens get hot and win this division, it's on you because you're going to remember a Thursday night beating you got from Joe Flacco.
I think the Steelers have some soul searching to look into because the bottom line is they beat up on teams that are either banged up or just got awful.
Yeah.
And you know, this should have been a game where they should have won. This is not. I mean, look, again, Cincinnati offense is fine. The Cincinnati defense isn't that good either. So
And they were without their best player. There was no Trey Hendrickson in this
yeah,
game.
let's be real. So, I think the Steelers, I don't want to say underestimated the Bengals. But I felt like they came in a little too overconfident in winning a game, and they're not who they say they are.
To quote the great Dennis Green, the Bears are who we thought they were. We let them off the hook. One of the greatest rants on a post game ever. All right, so the Bengals go to 3-4, Pittsburgh 4-2.
Now, who would have thought the Cincinnati Bengals right back in the thick of things?
The Cincinnati Bengals are right back in the thick.
And
And
and, and,
next,
and, and you watch. I don't know if this is gonna be every game, but you watch. Joe Flacco is gonna be fucking raking now.
and by the way, next week is another Joe Flacco revenge game. The Bengals play the Jets. While the Steelers next Sunday night will host the Green Bay Packers. So Aaron
Supposed to be
Rodgers
the
in
two top
Shula.
defenses in the league right there.
Put the L on his forehead.
Oh, should be an interesting one next Sunday night. All right. Speaking of returns in the AFC, today will mark the return of wide receiver Rashee Rice to the Chiefs after serving his 6-game suspension. And Mark, the Chiefs last week, they rolled over the Detroit Lions, and it looked like vintage Mahomes out there.
Patrick Mahomes did Patrick Mahomes things last week against a weak Detroit Lions secondary. Yes, I agree. He was back to his own self, something we haven't seen in really this much in the first half of the season. Now you're giving him Rashee Rice back. He has Xavier Worthy back. You know who just became much relevant again? Travis Kelce. Because now you can't take away that big target in the center with two guys because now you have to legitimately cover the outsides. KC just became the most dangerous team in the AFC again. And teams like Buffalo, Baltimore, I'm not worried about, but Cincinnati come December, Pittsburgh, better start taking notice.
Speaking of taking notice, we got a touchdown in London as the Rams score again. Matthew Stafford, 1 yard, Devontae Adams.
Yeah, it was easy.
Pending the extra point, it is 20-0 Rams with about 4.5 minutes left in the first half.
Extra point's good, so it's
21-0.
Devontae.
Yeah.
I believe this drive started off a missed field goal from Jackson.
Yes, it did. It was a really bad missed field goal too. Like it wasn't even close. The Chiefs always do this. Like,
They do.
Like, why do they tease us into thinking, oh, well, the absolute worst is coming. It's like the apocalypse. Everything's gonna crash and burn for Kansas City. And then literally right around this time, Mahomes goes off. Like every year this happens. I was actually very impressed by the Kansas City Chiefs. This Detroit Lions team could be one of the best in football.
Hmm.
And they hold them to literally nickels and pennies. Like it was a bad performance. And I think Dan Campbell even said it at postgame that how they played poorly um overall. Golf wasn't good, defense wasn't good, um, receivers were non-existent. But the Chiefs, man, every time, every single time, they always find ways to climb themselves back into any type of AFC race, and that's just the norm. They start off slow and they get hot.
And they know who they are.
Yeah,
Like, okay, we lose week 1 to the Chargers, and it's all right. They lose week 2 to Philly, and they're 0-2, and it's like, oh, well, maybe it's a different year. Maybe they're out.
Mhm.
Then they beat up the Giants, and you're like, it's the Giants. Then they win another game. And it's like, all right, here they are. And then you're right, Dan. Last week, the Detroit Lions, who were probably the hottest team in all of football, especially offensively with the way Goff had been playing, and you hold them to 17 points.
Yeah.
That to me is like, okay, all right, all right, Steve Spagnuolo, we're back. We're back. And now you're going to get Rashee Rice back. So this offense just becomes way more dangerous than it's been.
Yeah.
The defense, we know how good it is. Kansas City's right there with the Chargers, with the Bills, with the Indianapolis Colts for best team in the AFC right now.
Bummer.
Did you just say bummer?
No, I just said summer. My dog. Sorry about that.
I was so confused for a minute. I was like, wait,
Where,
what's
where,
a
where,
bummer?
where's Hot Girl Summer? Where's she at?
She's laying right down on the floor next to the bed.
For those
Okay.
that don't know, Summer is Mark's dog.
Yes. She said that Charlotte went to go visit Nana.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hot Girl Summer. How did she do on the picks?
Well, Summer, we did not do Summer's picks last night because I was having computer problems.
Okay.
But last week, Summer went 4 for 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Summer went 4 for 5. She keeps believing in the Cleveland Browns. I don't understand why.
Well, to be fair, they do call the fans the dog.
That is fair. This is true. And maybe there is a little nepotism there somehow.
Yeah.
Uh, so while the Chiefs are we're thinking are back, there are two teams that have Super Bowl aspirations that have dropped a couple in a row that might have some people here a little concerned. So, Mark, I'll start with you. Who are you more concerned about with dropping two straight? Your Philadelphia Eagles or the Buffalo Bills, who lost to the Falcons on Monday night?
To me, it's the Buffalo Bills. I would love to crap on the Philadelphia Eagles any day of the week, but in reality, it's the Buffalo Bills who, even with I like to call it the unknown team, even with Josh Allen playing God, this team should not be losing any games.
Yeah.
This should be the best team in the AFC, and they are slowly collapsing here. And it's frustrating to watch. If Buffalo loses again today, I think it's time to really start to be concerned.
Buffalo's on bye. so you won't see
Yes,
it.
Buffalo
Well,
is on
meaning
bye.
next week. Sorry, meaning
Yeah,
next week. If Buffalo
yeah,
loses next week, you got to start sounding some alarms here.
yeah. I'm not going to make any excuses for the Bills. I'm not even going to go out and say, well, they're injured. No, because you still have mostly the same team that you threw out there a few weeks ago, right? So I'm very concerned about the Bills because this is two straight games where Josh Allen has turned the football over. And we know when Josh Allen turns the football over, it's a disaster. There's just no way that Buffalo can recover, or if they do recover, it's because another team makes a mistake. And of course, the Bills know how to capitalize on that. But whenever the Bills make a mistake and they have no chances to get themselves back in it, it's usually pretty disastrous. And what the case was on Monday night in Atlanta. Atlanta really took them to town. And Atlanta's not the type of team to take the Buffalo Bills to town. So that was pretty embarrassing. Uh, and look, they are hurt, but they still have Josh Allen, who can make plays. They still got, I think Cook is still there, right? He's still
Yep.
so you have playmakers.
My thing on the Bills is this. I think the Bills are one of these teams that are going to have to be active come the trade deadline because they need a couple of things.
Yeah, well, receivers.
Well, that's
Yeah,
one
and
of them.
that's
That's
the biggest thing.
that is absolutely one of them because look, I get it. The plan is well, everyone wants to be like Kansas City. Well, Kansas City doesn't have a number one receiver. Well, guess what? Sometimes you need that number one guy because who scares you
Yeah.
catching the football? Khalil Shakir, nice player, but he didn't scare me. Dalton Kincaid being a part of this offense is a nice factor, but on the outside, there's no one that scares you. And then defensively, they need secondary help.
Yes.
Their corners have not played great, and that's a problem.
As great as Josh Allen is, I cut you off, Mike. Um, as great as Josh Allen is, he's not like the Tom Brady type or the Peyton Manning type where you could essentially be a coach on the field. He can't do that. He can't. I don't know if he'll be able to do that. So it's not so yes, there's some teams out there that don't have great receivers that do great. It's probably because the quarterback actually helps them. Josh Allen, I don't think he knows how to do stuff like that.
And you're putting way more pressure on him than's needed.
Yeah.
Give him a wide receiver who can be more solid and can draw you to have your secondary and tertiary receivers do a lot of the extra work. Right now, the Buffalo Bills have less of a chance of winning a championship than the Buffalo Sabres.
I don't even know if that's possible. The Sabres are coming off back to back wins.
Like the Buffalo Sabres,
Look at them. Break it out.
and we were worried about them.
We were worried about the Sabres. Hey, whoa, hey. Not like their coach called them out after the second game of the year or anything.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, for the Eagles, they just look like the team to me that choked a couple of years ago. They don't look like the team that won the Super Bowl last year.
But you know what? That's okay because they don't have they look, you don't have the same team. Um Obviously you want to win. And that should be the standard. But sometimes the NFL just gets better. Sometimes the teams have your number. Sometimes teams, go after players. Hey, there's Hot Girl Summer.
Yes.
Sometimes teams go after players that can compete against the Eagles. You know, obviously you don't want to lose to the Giants. They're a division rival who are an upstart team. But losing to a team like the Denver Broncos, who have the number one defense, like, okay, it is what it is. You know, and look, you could have put them to bed too, but it is what it is. Your team didn't play well. So I'm not too concerned about Philly. I think they'll figure it out. They're getting their defensive reinforcements back, and they should be much better um, when they play.
Uh, here's my memo to Philly: give Saquon Barkley more than 14 touches in a football game.
That
Have
was the
fun.
biggest confusing thing, especially when Mike and I broke it down for last week. That was the most confusing stat from that game.
Yeah, especially based on the way Saquon was running. But we'll see what happens. The Eagles will play the Minnesota Vikings today. And that's where we'll
Um,
start our games to discuss. So,
yeah,
and it's a
that should be get right.
it's a revenge game too, because
Mhm.
starting for the Minnesota Vikings today,
Carson.
former second overall pick. The real name Mark wanted to name his dog. Carson Wentz will start for the Vikings.
No, no, not a chance in hell. My dog would have been named Xanax before Carson Wentz.
My dog named Xanax.
No, this is actually a game that the Philadelphia Eagles, as much as I hate to talk about them, need to win. And they need to blow this game out of the water to prove that they're still that team of old. I still am in complete, in my own opinion, that Jalen Hurts is actually really hurt. I think there's something wrong with his shoulder. I think there's a lot of bad communication between him and AJ Brown. Him and Devonta Smith haven't been on track. If there's any game for this team to make a statement, this will be it.
Obviously, to make a statement, yes, you want to beat the crap out of Minnesota, but even if they win ugly, I think they'll feel good because there's no style points when it comes to winning. You win a
Yes.
football game, you win a football game. So I just think they just need that one break to go their way.
And we'll see what happens against that Brian Flores led defense.
It's a good defense.
It's a really good defense. So see what happens there. Eagles, Vikings. Uh Dan, we got the Colts and the Chargers at 4 o'clock.
The Chargers are pissing me off because I thought I was so hyping them up like crazy to start the season. Now I know that they're frauds. like, like this should be a better matchup for them. Um I think offensively this will be a good game. Watch out for those Colts, man. I mean, how many more of these Colts games can we watch where Daniel Jones is throwing 3 touchdowns and handing off 2 touchdowns to Jonathan Taylor? Like, it's been fascinating to watch. So I expect this to be a good game.
Look at this. Daniel Jones, 8 touchdowns and 3 interceptions with 1,500 yards. I didn't think he'd have 1,500 yards on the whole year, even if he had to come in and play, backup. Jonathan Taylor, 600. There's nothing wrong with this offense, and that is sad and hard to say.
Hmm.
This offense can score.
Yeah.
It's the defense that needs to win games. It needs to keep them in it. If
Yeah.
the defense can keep teams and they can keep playing the way they have been, we're going to be talking about the Colts. Unfortunately, we're going to be able to say it not Jim Morris way. Playoffs, they're going to be in the playoffs
Hmm.
if this team keeps playing the way it is.
And stays
And Jonathan Taylor
stays healthy.
could, if he stays healthy, could eclipse 2,000 yards easily this season and maybe set the all-time rushing record for yards in one season. This Colts team is dangerous, but I also love Herbert. I've loved him since he's come into the league. I just feel that every time the guy finally gets a running back, it always gets injured and it's lost for the year. And then he's the one who has to do all the running.
Their defense should be getting a little bit healthier. Khalil Mack activated off of injured reserve, so he's probably good to go today. But man, look, back to the Colts thing. Jonathan Taylor's having such a great year. But I think the renaissance of Daniel Jones has kind of overshadowed the year Jonathan Taylor's had right now. Jonathan Taylor's been playing his rear end off.
Well, I think it's a good story for both.
Yeah. Yeah. He's had one game this year where he's either been held under 100 yards or scoreless. So Jonathan Taylor's been producing at a high level. All right. Also at the 4 o'clock hour mark, we've got Jaden Daniels without any receivers going to Dallas to play the Cowboys.
Like the American Revolution, this is Dallas's Saratoga.
Yeah.
This is the turning point of the war for Dallas right here. You have a healthy Dak Prescott. You got a reformulated running game with Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue. Unfortunately, Miles Sanders lost for the season, and in my opinion, Denver wanted him in the first place anyway. CeeDee Lamb is back today. But here's the key. I don't know how much he's actually going to be a focus as more of a distraction. George Pickens is on a hell of a tear. You're not going to slow him down. You also get Cavante Turpin back. This offense is going to score and score big. It is going to be up to the defense to have to stop Jaden Daniels. Receiver-wise, Mike is right. There's no receivers. But we've seen Dallas play against quarterbacks who can maneuver. And the 3 quarterbacks that they've had to play maneuver, they could not control. So that's where the game has to be held.
And also no Trayvon Diggs for the Cowboy defense.
Correct, because he bumped his friggin' head and got a concussion.
Yeah, I mean, that's awful. An accident at home, and then that's how you land on the on injured possibly injured reserve if it gets that far. Um, uh, Sucks for the Commanders because no Terry McLaurin. Now Deebo Samuel has a heel issue. So, I was banking on the Commanders' defense, which I think is a little better than Dallas, based on the circumstances that they'll pull through. I don't know now. I mean, I think that this is a game that Dallas has to win. There's just no excuses here. This is a Washington team that right now is missing a bunch of key players on both sides of the ball. There's no
And the biggest for anything for Jaden, it's Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they haven't meshed all season because both were out at some point, right?
Correct.
When McLaurin was playing, Jaden Daniels was out. And now when Daniels is playing, McLaurin's out. So they haven't really gotten off to that. Like they won games, but they haven't really gotten off to that that big start that they were hoping for.
And that's why you stay in camp, kids, and you don't hold out.
Yeah.
But this is a game where Jaden Daniels is going to have to put on a Superman cape. And that's the way that the Commanders are going to have to win. For
Yep.
Dallas, it's business as usual.
Yeah.
You're right, Mark, on Lamb, but I've got massive concerns about this defense.
Yeah.
Here's my take on the Dallas defense. It's not the worst in the league. It's the second worst in the league. And that's a problem.
No problem.
Okay? It's a problem. Any team can score on this Dallas defense. I don't care what anybody says, oh, we're getting players back. You could get the entire Marvel universe on that team. If they still give up 42 points, it doesn't matter. We get Demarion Overshawn back. That's huge. But they have to start stopping the run. I believe this secondary can stop the pass if they're forced into third and longs.
Yeah.
If you can stop this weak Washington run and force them to throw, Dallas has a very good chance.
Hold on.
And, put enough pressure on Daniels. He's known to turn the ball quite a bit. Not as much as other quarterbacks. He's actually very good in terms of that. But put enough pressure, you can be like what the Bears did on Monday night.
That was a brutal loss.
It was
But
rough.
Mark, didn't the Cowboys make a trade over the summer that was supposed to improve the run defense?
I'm gonna hear this every friggin' week of my life, except during the bye week. I'm gonna get a break during that week. I'm gonna say
Listen,
it
I'm
again.
not the one who said it. The owner's the
Micah
guy who said it.
Parsons it was the biggest defensive loss in football. You want to know what? They didn't want a distraction. You got two number ones for it.
You
You
know,
got a trade deadline coming
my,
up.
my point isn't
Yeah.
Parsons. My point is this: the owner, the
Oh
the
fuck! Sorry.
the old guy in the suite who they show 85 times a game. He
Yeah, he's
told
shown more than
me
Taylor Swift.
he told me that trading Micah Parsons was supposed to help them stop the run. Well, now they can't stop the run. Rico
Yeah.
Dowdle ran all over him.
Rico Dowdle went off
Dowdle.
for 200 total yards. Every running back has gone over 100 yards against them.
I went for over 100 yards.
The trade deadline is coming up. There are a few ways this Cowboys team can get very healthy very fast. It's gonna involve using one of those two acquired draft picks, and that's to go after defensive tackle Max Crosby from Las Vegas, who is being dangled out there. That would upgrade this defense. Not fully capable, but one hell of a bit. And you sign him to a long-term extension now that Dallas has all this cap space. That's where I would go with one
Just
of
some
those
with the
picks.
Raiders, but could be wrong. All right. Sunday night, Chris Collinsworth is going to tell you here's a guy about 8,000 times. A battle of Deion Sanders' former teams. You get the Falcons and the Niners. I believe it's going to be Mac Jones again for the 49ers.
It is. Brock Purdy and Pearsall will both miss this game this weekend.
But they do get George Kittle back.
Yes. Mac Jones, yet again, going out there and is going to lead this team. He has not had a bad start being out there at all this season. I think tonight's just going to be a repeat of the last two games he's played. He's going to go out. He's going to move the ball around. He's got a lot of experience help around him. It's the defense with the losses they've gotten over the last few weeks. One of the biggest being Fred Warner now. The defense has to show up more for San Francisco this week. I think Mac Jones will be fine.
Yeah, the Niners are, I think, the more comfy Mac Jones gets into the system, the more the Niners will be okay. But it's banking on Mac Jones playing well. And I think the Falcons are good enough defensively where they could probably put pressure on him. I don't know if they'll win, but certainly enough to be competitive. Like the Falcons have done a pretty nice job at keeping teams at bay.
Falcons are the most confusing team of football to me still. Because I still can't get the 30-0 beatdown from Carolina, yet they can beat teams like the Cowboys and you know they come back from 17 down against the Dolphins, even though we know what kind of show that is. But man, the Falcons, if they can get in a win here on Sunday night, they'll say a lot for Michael Penix and this team.
Penix has played well over the last few weeks, but you cannot deny the fact that Bijan Robinson is this team's
The
MVP right
run
now.
he had on Monday night, oh my God. Oh, I only think there's
You
two
know,
running backs that make that run, and I think it's him and Saquon.
you
Maybe even
know,
McCaffrey, if I'm going to be.
last year he was getting torn up. He was a rookie last year, little experience in the NFL. You see how players grow when they get a year of experience under them. But running backs different than quarterbacks. So
And then we got a Monday night doubleheader tomorrow night. One really fun game, and that's the Bucks and the Lions. And it looks like Mike Evans will be back for the Bucks.
Mike Evans will be back, but there will be no Chris Godwin tomorrow night.
Yep.
The Detroit Lions have to come out and play score for score football here because the Detroit Lions secondary is just as bad as the Dallas secondary. I mean, it's that bad. They cannot stop anybody. They'll get Terry and Arnold back tonight, but he will only play a certain amount of snaps. It's gonna be a run over game. This will be a shootout.
Yeah. Should be a ton of fun. And the last game will be the Texans and the Seahawks, which might be the opposite of a shootout. That might be a defensive, stingy battle.
Sam Darnold led Seahawks. If
Sam
anything,
Darnold
these
played
old
well.
quarterbacks, I hate to say that fact that you can say Sam Darnold's old, but these old quarterbacks making some of these receivers look good. You got Darnold making Smith and Jigbo look amazing. Flacco, 16 receptions to
Jamar
uh,
Chase.
Jamar Chase the other night. I mean, you know what? John Madden always said he likes to see a seasoned player do well.
I thought you were going to see it's one for the old guys, and then I thought you were going to go into Max Scherzer start from the other night in the ALCS.
Yeah.
All right. Fantasy player of the day, gentlemen. Who you got?
I have CD Lamb
Oh, in his return. Okay.
in his return.
The return of the
Yeah.
Lamb.
I'm looking at something very honest. I'm just going after Evan Ingram of the Denver Broncos to light up his old team, the New York Giants, today.
Drake May and Kayshon Boutte of the Patriots as Mike Vrabel beats down the Tennessee Titans. All right, that'll do it for this edition of the Sunday Sideline Report here on the SAN YouTube channel. Stay tuned tomorrow as Dan and Bill recap Week 7, as well as some other things on SIP. Dan, where can people find us?
So go to our website, sportssanitynetwork.com. Bunch of stuff over there. Please read our blogs. Our vlogs are here on YouTube, as well as many of our shows. Listen to all of our podcasts. We have a podcast list on our website as well. You can get those podcasts wherever, mostly Spotify, Apple. Please subscribe to this channel. We could really use your support. And follow our socials.
Facebook, Sports Insanity Network, Twitter, Insanity Real. We're live every Sunday morning previewing the game action.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone enjoy week 7. For Dan, Mark, I'm Mike. We'll talk to you all again next week. Take it easy and get ready for Halloween.
Peace.